What if everything you've been taught about success is actually keeping you from experiencing it? What if the rules you've been following, the struggles you've endured, and the sacrifices you've been told are necessary are based on a lie, a misunderstanding of the very nature of true achievement? In this talk, we're going to uncover what success really is, not the version sold to you by society or the world's expectations, but the deeper, spiritual truth that has been quietly available to you all along. By the end of this video, you'll see success in a way that feels effortless, natural, and profoundly aligned with who you really are. True success is an inner state, not an external achievement. Many of us have been conditioned to believe that success is measured by the numbers on a paycheck, the size of a house, the car we drive, or the prestige of a title. We chase these outward symbols relentlessly, often sacrificing our peace of mind, our health, and even the richness of our relationships in the process. But if you stop for a moment and observe your own experience, you'll notice something remarkable. There are people with modest incomes who radiate a sense of fulfillment, joy, and contentment. And there are people with vast wealth who feel restless, incomplete, and anxious. What distinguishes them is not what they have accumulated, but the state of consciousness they occupy. True success begins and ends within. It is the feeling of harmony, alignment, and authenticity in one's life. Consider a simple daily scenario. You wake up in the morning and rush through your routine, checking your phone, replying to emails, navigating traffic, and trying to tick off a long list of tasks. On the surface, it may seem like you're being productive, moving toward goals, building your success. But pause and ask yourself, how do you feel in this moment? Are you present? Are you experiencing satisfaction or merely running on a treadmill that never ends? Inner success is not about the list you complete. It is about the state of presence you bring to each moment, the calm and clarity that allows you to move through life without being tossed about by every external circumstance. We can see this more clearly through the example of parenting. A parent may work tirelessly to provide material comfort for their child. Private schools, toys, vacations. But if they are chronically stressed, impatient, or emotionally distant, the child senses the absence of peace and connection. Here, the outer success, the provision, is evident, yet the inner state is missing. On the other hand, a parent who may not have extravagant resources but approaches each day with patience, attention, and joy provides a far richer sense of security and fulfillment to their child. The lesson is clear. The quality of our inner experience radiates outward, influencing not only our own life, but the lives of everyone around us. Think also about careers and work life. People often equate a promotion, a corner office, or public recognition with success. Yet many who reach these heights report feeling exhausted, trapped, or disconnected from their true calling. Meanwhile, there are countless individuals who engage in work that aligns with their gifts, even if it brings modest financial reward, and they experience a deep sense of satisfaction. This illustrates a fundamental principle. True success is not something you earn externally. It is something you cultivate internally by aligning with your values, passions, and innate abilities. When your inner state is grounded in purpose and joy, the outer circumstances naturally follow in ways that support your growth rather than define it. Daily life is full of subtle invitations to test this principle. Waiting in line at a grocery store, dealing with a difficult colleague, navigating a delayed flight. These are not just annoyances to endure, they are opportunities to observe your inner state. Are you impatient, frustrated, and reactive, or are you calm, aware, and centered? The experience itself is not the measure of success. The quality of your response is. Inner success allows you to maintain peace, clarity, and resilience regardless of external conditions. Consider friendships and relationships. Many people pursue connections for status, convenience, or personal gain, mistaking the accumulation of contacts for success. But the depth, quality, and authenticity of relationships are determined by the inner presence and openness you bring into them. A person who cultivates compassion, attentiveness, and generosity naturally attracts meaningful connections, while someone who is preoccupied with appearances or validation may find themselves surrounded by people, but still feeling lonely. Even in moments of personal ambition, the principle holds. You may set goals, strive for recognition, or dream of fame. If these pursuits are rooted solely in external validation, you may find that reaching them brings only fleeting satisfaction. The inner state, the alignment of desire, intention, and awareness, determines whether those achievements feel truly rewarding. Success is experienced in the process, in the mindful engagement with life, not in the distant attainment of some milestone. In daily interactions, from the simplest conversations to the most challenging encounters, true success manifests as the ability to remain grounded, compassionate, and clear. It is present when you listen fully without judgment, respond with integrity rather than reaction, and move through life with a sense of ease and purpose. This inner success is subtle. It cannot be measured by a bank statement or a title, yet it transforms every aspect of life. Many people spend their lives chasing a version of success defined by society, only to arrive at a point where they feel empty despite having achieved it. The realization that fulfillment comes from within can be shocking at first because it overturns so many deeply held beliefs. Yet once you begin to shift your focus from external markers to inner states, life begins to unfold differently. Everyday activities, from commuting to working to interacting with family, become opportunities to cultivate peace, awareness, and authentic satisfaction. This is the essence of success that endures, regardless of circumstance. True success is an inner state, and once understood, it transforms how you live every moment. It reframes ambition, shifts priorities, and illuminates the path to a life of harmony and purpose. In this way, success is not a distant goal to be achieved. It is a living, breathing experience that begins here in the quiet awareness of your own being, shaping every choice, every action, and every relationship. The struggle and sacrifice commonly associated with success are misconceptions. For as long as we can remember, we've been told that to achieve anything worthwhile, we must endure hardship, work ourselves to the bone, and pay the price in exhaustion and stress. The stories around us glorify relentless effort, sleepless nights, and constant competition, as if the very act of struggling somehow validates achievement. Yet, when we look closely, we see countless examples of individuals who have followed this formula, only to find that the reward is hollow, fleeting, or accompanied by a sense of emptiness. The truth is that struggle is not a prerequisite for success. It is often a signal that we are resisting the natural flow of life, forcing ourselves to conform to expectations that do not align with our true nature. Think about your own daily life. How often do we wake up feeling like we must push harder, endure more, and sacrifice our comfort in the name of ambition? We sit in traffic, stressing about being late, burdened by endless to-do lists, believing that every ounce of effort will eventually pay off. But notice the subtle difference when you shift your approach. What if, instead of striving with tension, you allowed your tasks to unfold with presence, clarity, and ease? What if success was not about fighting against life, but cooperating with it? The distinction is profound, and it changes everything. Struggle, when mistaken for progress, blinds us to the effortless currents that already exist around us, waiting to carry us forward when we align with them. Consider the way we often approach learning or personal growth. We think that mastery comes only through grueling hours of study, through constant criticism of ourselves, or through enduring setbacks that feel insurmountable. But real growth often comes when we engage with curiosity, attention, and openness rather than force. Think of a child learning to walk. They do not resist the process with anxiety or judgment. They stumble, rise, and try again, guided by their natural momentum rather than a rigid insistence on perfection. In the same way, adult achievement flourishes not when we push ourselves mercilessly, but when we nurture our abilities, respond to feedback with openness, and trust the natural unfolding of our efforts. The struggle is unnecessary. It is often self-imposed. Even in the realm of relationships, the belief in struggle as a necessity for success is pervasive. Many people endure difficult friendships or romantic connections, believing that pain and compromise are the price of love or companionship. They accept misunderstandings, tension, or lack of appreciation as inevitable, thinking that persistence through hardship proves commitment or value. Yet in reality, the quality of relationships is amplified when we bring awareness, clarity, and mutual respect into every interaction. Struggle does not create depth, presence, and alignment do. By forcing ourselves to fight for approval or cling to outcomes, we create unnecessary friction. The people and circumstances that resonate with our true nature naturally flow into our lives, often without struggle at all. Consider your career. How often have you been told that to succeed, you must sacrifice sleep, health, or family time? That, paying your dues through exhaustion and stress, is the only way to advance. And yet, when you observe leaders, creators, and innovators who truly thrive, a different pattern emerges. Their success is often marked not by relentless struggle, but by alignment. A deep understanding of their gifts, a clear sense of purpose, and the ability to move with focus and ease. They make decisions that conserve energy, prioritize what matters most, and trust in the unfolding of opportunities rather than forcing outcomes through sheer effort. The struggle, in many cases, is optional. What is essential is awareness and purposeful action. Even in small daily moments, the difference between struggle and ease is apparent. Waiting in a long line, managing household chores, or dealing with a frustrating co-worker. These situations are often met with tension, resistance, and inner friction. But imagine approaching the same situations with a sense of acceptance, observation, and calm. The line still moves slowly, the chores remain, and the co-worker may still be difficult, but the experience itself transforms. You find that solutions emerge more naturally, interactions become smoother, and your energy remains intact. What once felt like struggle now feels like engagement with life as it is, not as you fear it must be. Even financial goals are often pursued under the belief that struggle is inevitable. Many people exhaust themselves, work multiple jobs, or sacrifice well-being in pursuit of money or material security. Yet, when you focus on clarity, intention, and alignment with your abilities, opportunities appear with less force and resistance. Income flows more easily, decisions become simpler, and financial growth emerges as a reflection of your inner harmony rather than a consequence of relentless toil. The struggle, when mistaken as necessary, blinds us to the natural pathways already present in our lives. When you begin to notice the difference between imposed struggle and effortless engagement, life begins to change. You realize that many of the obstacles you've been pushing against are, in fact, illusions created by your assumptions and conditioning. Success is not built on suffering or sacrifice. It is nurtured through clarity, presence, and purposeful action. When you release the belief that hardship is the measure of value, you open space for life to unfold in a way that feels aligned, supported, and surprisingly easy. Daily life becomes a laboratory for this truth. Each interaction, task, and goal becomes an opportunity to test whether struggle is truly necessary or merely habitual. You discover that the more you align with the natural flow of your own awareness, the less resistance you encounter and the more success shows up organically. In this way, the misconception of struggle dissolves, revealing the effortless, abundant reality that has always been available. Success flows naturally when aligned with your spiritual essence. Once we begin to release the notion that struggle and external measures define our achievement, a profound truth emerges. Success is not something we force or chase. It is something we allow when we are in harmony with our deepest nature. Think of it like a river. Water does not labor to flow. It moves effortlessly along its course, finding the path of least resistance, nourishing everything it touches along the way. In the same manner, when your actions, thoughts, and intentions are aligned with your inner truth, success appears as a natural byproduct, not a distant goal to be desperately pursued. Consider your morning routine. Many people wake up and immediately feel tension, racing to complete tasks, check emails, and get ahead of their day. Their energy is scattered, and each step feels like a struggle against time. Contrast this with a morning in which you pause, breathe, and center yourself in your own presence before beginning the day. Suddenly, tasks flow with ease, decisions are clearer, and interactions with others feel more harmonious. When you are aligned with your essence, life seems to move in a supportive rhythm, and success is no longer a matter of brute force, but of natural momentum. Look at creativity as another example. Artists, writers, and innovators often experience moments of inspiration when they feel fully immersed in their work, as if ideas flow through them rather than from them. This is alignment with essence in action. The struggle to create disappears because the work is no longer imposed, it is received. In daily life, alignment might be less dramatic, but just as powerful. The way you handle a challenging conversation with calm and clarity, the ease with which you resolve a problem at work, or the simple satisfaction of completing household responsibilities with presence and intention. Each of these moments demonstrates how success manifests when you are in tune with your deeper self. Even in relationships, the principle holds true. A partnership that is aligned with mutual respect, understanding, and authentic connection does not require constant negotiation or coercion. The energy flows naturally. Conflicts are resolved with ease, communication feels effortless, and the relationship grows organically. Conversely, relationships based on neediness, control, or external expectations often feel heavy, draining, and stagnant. Alignment with spiritual essence does not eliminate challenges, but it transforms the way we navigate them, allowing solutions and harmony to emerge without force. In the workplace, alignment with your essence can radically change your experience of productivity and success. Consider two employees. One constantly pushes, stresses, and hustles, trying to control every outcome. The other focuses on clarity, prioritizes tasks that resonate with their strengths, and approaches challenges with calm presence. Over time, the second employee may achieve far more, not through struggle, but through natural flow. Opportunities present themselves more readily, collaboration improves, and creativity sparks new solutions. This is not luck. It is the manifestation of success when actions are aligned with purpose and inner truth. Financial abundance is also profoundly affected by alignment. Many people operate from fear, scarcity, or societal pressures, believing they must fight and sacrifice to achieve security. The result is stress, frustration, and a constant sense of lack. However, when you align with your essence, making choices that reflect your values, strengths, and authentic desires, Financial success often follows effortlessly. You notice opportunities that were previously invisible, decisions feel clear and confident, and wealth becomes a natural reflection of your inner harmony rather than a hard-fought conquest. Even in the smallest moments of daily life, alignment demonstrates its power. Preparing a meal with full attention, listening deeply to someone without distraction, or approaching a task with calm intention transforms ordinary experiences into sources of fulfillment. You begin to notice that success is not some monumental event. It is the seamless integration of presence, awareness, and alignment in every moment. The more you cultivate this inner attunement, the more naturally life responds, offering circumstances that support your growth rather than testing your endurance. Physical health, too, reflects the state of alignment. When your body, mind, and spirit are in harmony, energy flows, resilience increases, and well-being manifests effortlessly. For example, someone who honors their need for rest, movement, and nourishment without forcing extremes experiences vitality and clarity that supports every endeavor. Conversely, ignoring this alignment through overwork, stress, or neglect creates friction, fatigue, and obstacles that seem to block success. The principle is consistent. When you align with your essence, life unfolds with less resistance and more flow. Even decision making is transformed by alignment. Faced with choices, people often operate from anxiety, pressure, or external expectations, resulting in indecision or outcomes that feel unsatisfying. When you pause, connect with your inner truth, and allow clarity to guide you, decisions become simpler, more confident, and naturally conducive to growth. Life begins to feel less like a battle and more like a co-creation with circumstances, energy, and opportunities. In essence, alignment with spiritual self turns every aspect of life into a channel for effortless success. Actions are purposeful, interactions are harmonious, and challenges are navigated with clarity. Rather than exhausting effort to achieve an outcome, you allow the outcome to arise naturally from your presence and engagement. Everyday life, work, relationships, creativity, health, and financial choices becomes a living demonstration of how deeply success is intertwined with the state of your inner alignment. Fear, doubt, and societal conditioning block genuine success. Even when we begin to understand that success flows naturally from alignment with our spiritual essence, there is often an invisible force that interrupts this flow. Fear whispers that we are not capable. Doubt convinces us to question our worth. And the subtle pressures of societal expectations convince us that we must conform, even when doing so suppresses our true potential. These forces are so deeply ingrained that we rarely notice them, yet they shape our decisions, actions, and even the way we perceive what is possible in our lives. Every time we allow fear or doubt to guide us, we step out of alignment with our inner truth, and with it, we step away from the effortless success that is naturally available. Consider a simple example from daily life. You have an idea for a project at work, something innovative, something that could make a real difference, But the moment you consider sharing it, a voice in your mind says, what if it fails? What if people think it's a bad idea? That hesitation, subtle as it may seem, is fear speaking. Fear doesn't just stop you from taking a risk. It distorts your perception of reality, making obstacles appear larger than they are and possibilities seem distant or unattainable. Doubt compounds this effect, feeding the narrative that you are unprepared, unworthy, or lacking the skills necessary to succeed. In truth, the skills and opportunities are often already present. It is the inner resistance that creates the illusion of impossibility. Societal conditioning plays an equally powerful role. From a young age, we are taught rules, norms, and expectations about what constitutes success, what a good life looks like, and how to behave in order to be accepted. We are praised for conformity and criticized for divergence. The result is that we carry invisible boundaries around ourselves, assuming that the limits others have set for us are real. We may aspire to a career, relationship, or lifestyle that is deeply fulfilling, yet unconsciously sabotage ourselves because it does not fit the familiar blueprint. Daily examples are everywhere. Choosing a college major based on parental approval rather than personal passion, selecting a job because it's stable rather than aligned with our gifts, or hesitating to start a new venture because it defies conventional wisdom. In each case, fear, doubt, and conditioning act like invisible walls that block the natural flow of success. Even in personal relationships, these forces exert their influence. Fear of rejection, doubt about one's own worthiness, and societal messages about what love should look like often prevent authentic connection. You may hesitate to express your feelings, share your true self, or make choices that honor your values because of what others might think. The result is relationships that feel constrained, unsatisfying, or misaligned, even though a more effortless, fulfilling dynamic is possible. Success in relationships, like all areas of life, is blocked not by circumstance, but by the internalized fears and doubts that distort perception and limit action. In the workplace, fear and doubt often manifest as procrastination, overthinking, or a need to control every outcome. Employees may hesitate to take on new responsibilities, pitch ideas, or pursue advancement because of imagined risks. They might spend more energy worrying about potential failure than actually producing meaningful results. Yet when we recognize these inner blocks, we can begin to shift. Small acts of courage, like voicing a new idea in a meeting or asking for guidance from a mentor, chip away at fear and doubt, gradually restoring the natural flow of success that is aligned with our essence. Even financial decisions are affected. People often hold back from investments, career changes, or entrepreneurial ventures because of fear of loss or doubt in their ability to succeed. They may follow conventional advice rigidly, believing that security requires constant caution and adherence to societal norms. But when you observe life closely, you notice that opportunities often appear when you act from clarity, confidence, and presence rather than fear. Fear convinces you to wait, to delay, and to shrink yourself, while doubt undermines the very action needed to bring success into manifestation. Daily life is filled with subtle cues of these inner blocks: the hesitation to speak up in a group, the avoidance of a difficult conversation, the compulsion to compare oneself to others, or the resistance to change, even when current circumstances are unsatisfying. Each moment of resistance is a choice to act from fear, doubt, or conditioning rather than from inner truth. By bringing awareness to these moments, you begin to recognize the patterns that prevent success and discover the freedom that comes from letting them go. Even seemingly minor examples illustrate the principle. Waiting to apply for a promotion because you fear you're not ready enough. Avoiding asking for help because you doubt your competence. Or suppressing a creative idea because it seems unconventional. These are all ways fear, doubt, and societal conditioning obstruct the natural flow of success. In each case, the opportunity is present, the resources are often available, yet the invisible block prevents movement. Recognizing these forces is the first step, but the next is learning to act in spite of them, to trust in your inner guidance, and to allow your true abilities and opportunities to manifest. This requires presence, mindfulness, and a conscious willingness to move beyond the familiar patterns of thought and behavior that have held you back. Each time you step beyond fear, question doubt, and release the invisible constraints of societal conditioning, you reclaim access to the effortless, natural success that is your birthright. Letting go of control allows success to manifest effortlessly. Once we recognize that fear, doubt, and societal conditioning block genuine success, it becomes clear that the human desire to control every outcome often adds more resistance than it resolves. We cling tightly to plans, timelines, and expectations, believing that if we can only manage every detail, success will follow. Yet the paradox is that the tighter we hold on, the more the natural flow of life resists us. True success emerges not from control, but from the conscious surrender to the intelligence of the present moment, trusting that life itself supports us when we act from awareness rather than compulsion. Consider a typical workday. You may plan every hour meticulously, scheduling tasks back to back, anticipating challenges, and rehearsing solutions to potential problems. You feel the pressure to stay in command of every circumstance, believing this is how you achieve results. And yet, despite the effort, unexpected events still arise. A meeting runs long, a project shifts direction, or a colleague responds unpredictably. Those moments often create frustration, stress, and the illusion that your control has failed. But imagine if, instead, you approached your day with intention, but also with flexibility, ready to adapt, to respond, to shift as circumstances change. By letting go of rigid control, you open the door for solutions and opportunities to present themselves naturally, often surpassing what your carefully constructed plan could have achieved. Even in relationships, the compulsion to control often undermines the very connection we seek to cultivate. We may try to influence others' behavior, anticipate their responses, or manipulate situations to feel safe or secure. In doing so, we create tension, misunderstanding, and resistance. Conversely, when we let go of the need to control, we create space for authenticity, spontaneity, and deeper connection. By trusting the natural dynamics of relationships, observing, listening, and responding without trying to dominate outcomes, we allow trust and harmony to flourish, and the relationship itself becomes a source of effortless growth and mutual success. Parenting provides another vivid illustration. Many parents believe they must control every aspect of their child's life: schedules, choices, academics, and even social interactions. To ensure their success, they invest enormous energy in guiding, correcting, and managing, believing that failure to do so will lead to problems. Yet the children who thrive most are often those allowed the freedom to explore, make mistakes, and discover their own strengths. By letting go of rigid control, parents create an environment in which the natural talents, curiosity, and resilience of the child can unfold. The same principle applies to adults. When we trust in life's intelligence, we allow our own innate abilities to emerge without being stifled by over-management or anxiety. Even creative pursuits demonstrate the power of release. Writers, musicians, and artists often experience blocks when they attempt to force ideas or control every detail of the creative process. The work feels labored, uninspired, or stiff. But when they step back, relax, and allow intuition to guide them, ideas flow freely, often surpassing their conscious expectations. In daily life, this is mirrored in problem solving, brainstorming, and innovation. When we approach challenges with awareness, trust, and openness rather than rigid control, solutions appear more effortlessly, often in unexpected and inspired ways. Financial decisions illustrate the same dynamic. Many people attempt to control money by obsessing over every expenditure, meticulously planning for contingencies, and resisting risk entirely. While careful planning is useful, excessive control often generates anxiety, indecision, and missed opportunities. Those who cultivate a sense of trust, awareness, and flexibility in financial choices often experience growth with greater ease. By aligning action with clarity and intention, rather than fear and rigidity, abundance becomes a natural byproduct rather than a constant struggle. Even mundane tasks in daily life reveal the impact of control. Think about cooking a meal, commuting, or cleaning your home. When approached with rigid precision, frustration arises at the slightest deviation. A burnt dish, traffic, or misplaced item. But when approached with mindful presence and flexibility, the same activities become smoother, less stressful, and even enjoyable. By releasing the need to control, life unfolds in a more harmonious and efficient manner, allowing success to manifest in both small and significant ways. The workplace offers another example. Leaders often feel the pressure to micromanage teams, believing that close control guarantees results. Yet those who cultivate trust, delegate responsibility, and allow team members the freedom to act often achieve better outcomes. Innovation thrives, engagement increases, and solutions emerge that the leader could not have orchestrated alone. In essence, letting go of control does not mean passivity. It means creating space for life and people to express their fullest potential. Even our internal dialogue can benefit from this principle. We often try to control thoughts, emotions, and expectations, pushing away discomfort and clinging to certainty. This internal struggle drains energy and blocks natural flow. By practicing awareness, acceptance, and gentle observation of our own mind, we allow thoughts and feelings to arise and pass without resistance. This internal release cultivates clarity, resilience, and the ability to act effectively, demonstrating that success begins in the inner landscape as much as in the external world. Letting go of control does not imply surrendering responsibility or abandoning goals.